Function is also object in JavaScript, and it has its prototype called function.prototype. And this prototype has such methods as call, bind, apply, and so on. And if you create regular function like this, or if you assign arrow function expression to the variable, in both cases you create instances of the function.prototype. And prototype of function.prototype is object.prototype as usually. Let's now look at this in action. And first I will create regular function fn without any parameters, and here inside of the function I will log to the console this. Let's execute this. If I will access fn, I will get simply string with contents of the function, because remember that each function has code and has name. Also, it has optional parameters. And functions in JavaScript are first class. It means that they are simple values for any variables. You can assign any function to any variable, or you can use any function in the key value pair in any object. Okay, let's now look at the prototype of this function and verify whether or not it is equal to function.prototype. And yes, it is equal. And prototype of this prototype, let me copy it, paste here, will be, of course, object.prototype. If you want to access function as an object, you can use console.dir method, and here pass name of the function. Let's call it, and here you will see prototype chain. Let me expand it. Here you will see, for example, property called name. It is the name of the function. And here is interesting part. Here you see two properties, prototype and proto. This property, prototype, contains constructor function that is used for creation of the instances of this function, fn function. It also contains methods that will be available for each instance of this function. And this property points to its prototype. And in this case, it is function.prototype. And we have checked this here. Let's expand this prototype. And here you see a bunch of methods that are available for any function, because any function is instance of the function prototype. And here you see such methods as bind, call, apply, and so on. And prototype of function prototype is, of course, object.prototype. Okay, let me minify this tree, and let's call one of the methods of the function. And let me invoke call method. And here as an argument I will simply pass a number 5. What I will get in the console? Let's get back to function declaration. Here it is. It simply logs to the console this. Let's execute this, and here I get a number, an instance of the number prototype. It was logged to the console, because here 5 is equal to this in this function. And you see that this instance of the number prototype was created on the fly. Let's now call same function with string abc. And now you see that inside of the fn function, this is equal to the instance of the string. Here it is. Okay, let me show you also that fn is equal to fn.prototype.constructor. It means that this function can be used as a blueprint for instances of this function, because this function is a function constructor. Let me show you one more thing. Let's create now arrow function expression and assign it to the variable const fn2 equal to anonymous arrow function expression, and let's add two parameters here, a and b. And inside of this arrow function expression, let's simply log to the console a plus b. Let's execute this, and let's try to access proto property of this fn2 variable. And let's verify whether it is equal to function.prototype or not. And yes, it is equal, because this function is also instance of the function.prototype. In fact, here is anonymous arrow function expression assigned to the variable. That's why this variable is now instance of the function.prototype. Let's console dir this fn2 function. I will get tree. If I will expand it, you will see again name of the function and its prototype. And its prototype is the same as in the previous case. And it is function.prototype. Okay, but what is missing here? How do you think? Please take a look at this object and answer following question. What is the difference between this function fn2 and fn function that was declared using regular function declaration? Difference is here. This function doesn't have prototype property. It means that you are not able to create new instances of this fn2 function because it is anonymous arrow function expression. Let's look again at the fn. Console dir fn. Let me expand it, and here you see prototype property, and it contains constructor function. But in case with arrow function expressions, this property is missing. And if I will try to access fn2.prototype, I will get undefined. That's because arrow function expressions don't have prototype property. That's why you're not able to create new instances of the arrow function expression. It's one of the differences between arrow functions and regular functions. Some people think that arrow functions are replacement for regular function, but it is not the case. Okay, let me show you one more property of the function. Let me clear console and use again console.dir, and I will log fn2 function. And here you see that it has own property length, and it is equal to 2. Remember that I have defined this arrow function expression with two parameters, a and b. And that's why here you see number 2. You can access this property, fn2.length, and you will get 2. Using this property, you can easily get quantity of the parameters that is configured for any function in JavaScript. Okay, takeaway from this lecture is following. Every function is an instance of the function.prototype. And that's why any function has access to any methods of the function prototype, such as call, bind, or apply. This function.prototype has its own prototype, as usually it is object.prototype. It doesn't matter how you create a function. Function prototype is a prototype both for regular functions and arrow function expressions assigned to the variables. But there is important difference between those two function types. Regular functions are function constructors. It means that they have prototype property and can be used as prototypes for other instances of those functions. But arrow function expressions assigned to the variables don't have this property. That's why they are not function constructors and cannot be used as prototypes. Okay, here we come to the most important conclusion of this lesson. Every function in JavaScript, except arrow functions, is a constructor function. It means that when you create any function in JavaScript, you can easily use it as a prototype for new instances of this function. And we will do this later on. But next, let's get back to the example with planes, cars, and vehicles and look at the prototype inheritance in this real-world scenario. See you in the next lecture. Bye-bye.